Welcome to one of the fastest growing sports YouTube channels out there, Gold and Blue Dude. And today I'm going to talk about the possible chaos in the 2021 college football season. Let's go! Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Gold and Blue Dude. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. That's what I do. And while you're here, go check out my good friends at tristatewoodsketch.com. All you have to do is send him the picture, and he'll transfer it on to wood. And if you mention Gold and Blue Dude, he'll give you 20% off. A quick reminder about my score prediction contest. I will be picking out a game every single week, and I'm going to have you guys guess the score. Whoever comes the closest gets $50. All you have to do is jump over to my Patreon page, join my Patreon page, and then email me your score prediction. If you're the closest, you get $50 and you're allowed to win more than once. So you can win a lot of money in this score prediction contest. So today we're talking about the possible chaos in the 2021 college football season. And no, I'm not talking about conference realignment. I'm talking about teams that could cause chaos in their own conference. First up, the ACC. And right off the bat, a name pops out to me. And you might be surprised because I'm a West Virginia fan and I'm going to mention Pitt. I think Pitt can cause some chaos. Here's a look at their schedule. UMass, at Tennessee, Western Michigan, New Hampshire, at Georgia Tech, at Virginia Tech, Clemson, Miami, at Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, and at Syracuse. The biggest reason why they can cause chaos is they get Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina all at home. And don't forget about fifth-year senior Kenny Pickett. He decided to return, and he's a pretty good quarterback. They will need Vincent Davis to give them a good running game this year. But I do think Pitt will have one of the best passing games in the ACC. I firmly believe that Pitt will cause some chaos this year and possibly have a 10-win season. In the Atlantic Division, Florida State. Here's a look at their schedule. First game, right off the bat, Notre Dame at home. There's a chance for chaos right there. In Jacksonville State, at Wake Forest, Louisville, Syracuse, at North Carolina, who they beat last year at home, UMass, at Clemson, NC State, Miami of Florida, at home, at Boston College, and at Florida. Florida State is looking to get to a bowl this year, and I think they can do it. And along the way, they can cause some chaos. They have quarterback Mackenzie Milton, a transfer from UCF after a brutal injury, but he's a good quarterback. And last year, the running game averaged 5.1 yards a carry, fourth best in the ACC. Could be even better this year. And on the defensive side of the ball, they stacked up with transfers, so the defense is going to be fairly good as well. Look for Florida State to possibly cause some chaos this year in the Atlantic Division. Next up, the Pac-12. First, I'm going to talk about the Pac-12 North, and the team that could cause some chaos is Stanford. Last year, they went a quiet 4-2, but a pretty decent football team. I do think this is a bowl caliber type of team. Here's their schedule. First, they get Kansas State in Arlington, at USC, at Vanderbilt, UCLA, Oregon at home, at Arizona State, at Washington State, Washington at home, Utah at home, at Oregon State, Cal, and then Notre Dame at home. Stanford's going to have plenty of opportunities to cause chaos. They have an interesting quarterback battle, but I do think that Tanner McKee is going to win that. Great offensive line, two great running backs in Austin Jones and Nathaniel Pete, and they have a much more experienced defense this year. Stanford, very capable of causing some chaos in 2021. In the South Division, Utah, I am shocked that Utah is not in the top 25. I think they're a top 25 team. Here's a look at their schedule. Weber State, at BYU, tricky rivalry. BYU not as good, but you still got to get past them. At San Diego State, Washington State, at USC, Arizona State at home, at Oregon State, UCLA, at Stanford, at Arizona, Oregon at home, and then Colorado. Utah returns 10 starters on the offense this year, and they got transfer quarterback Charlie Brewer, the Baylor transfer, legit good quarterback there. And they got some transfers at the running back position, really good. TJ Pledger from Oklahoma and Chris Curry from LSU, and the entire offensive line is back. 8 defensive starters are back. How is this not a preseason top 25 team? Utah going to cause some major chaos this year in the Pac-12 South. Next up, the Big 12. Yes, for right now, the Big 12 still exists. They don't have divisions, but I still picked out 2 teams that could cause some chaos. The first team, Kansas State. Here's a look at their schedule. They get Stanford in Arlington. Well, there you go, right off the bat. 2 chaos teams going at it in the first game. Southern Illinois, Nevada, at Oklahoma State, Oklahoma at home, and they've had Oklahoma's number. Then right after that, Iowa State at home, so back-to-back chances. At Texas Tech, TCU at home, at Kansas, and West Virginia at home. Kansas State is looking to get to a bowl. I think they can do it, especially with quarterback Skylar Thompson healthy. If he can stay healthy, this could be a dangerous team. And they have a pretty good running back in Deuce Vaughn as well. Great wide receiver core. Their biggest loss on the defense was their defensive lineman Wyatt Hubert, but they also got some transfers to plug in there. Kansas State, a legit team to cause some chaos in the Big 12. The other other team, my team, West Virginia. Here's a look at their schedule real quick. At Maryland, LIU, Virginia Tech, at Oklahoma, Texas Tech, at Baylor, at TCU, Iowa State at home. There's their biggest chance for chaos. Oklahoma State at home, at Kansas State, Texas, and at Kansas. There's a great quarterback battle going on, including returning starter Jarrett Daggy, but you also have quarterback Garrett Green and quarterback Will Crowder. And West Virginia is recruiting at a high level. Right now, their 2022 recruiting class is a top 20 recruiting class. West Virginia could have one of the best offensive lines in the Big 12. Don't forget about running back Letty Brown. Right up there with Bijan Robinson and Brees Hall is one of the best running backs in the Big 12. Very experienced and very deep wide receiving core. Now, it's the defense that's a little bit of a concern. Big losses. Safety Tyke Smith, defensive lineman Darius Steele, and linebacker Tony Fields. But West Virginia will still have a great defensive line, and safety KJ Martin is back after sitting out last year. And he was supposed to be the star of that defensive backfield. So I don't think there's much of a fall off on the defensive side of the ball for West Virginia. Very capable of producing some chaos. I have them going 9-3, but they could have a 10-win season. You never know. Next up, the Big Ten. First up, the Big Ten East. Penn State. I think they're going to cause some chaos, guys. Here's a look at their schedule. A tough opening game at Wisconsin. But then after that, Ball State, Auburn, Villanova, Indiana, all at home. At Iowa, Illinois, at Ohio State, at Maryland, Rutgers, at Michigan State. If they can pull off an upset on the road, either at Wisconsin or at Ohio State, boom, there you go. Major chaos. Quarterback Sean Clifford is looking to have a big bounce back year. We forget he's actually a pretty good quarterback. Just had a bad year last year. And Penn State is loaded with offensive playmakers. Defensive side of the ball, there is questions in the front seven. But Penn State should have a pretty good pass defense. And right now in college football, what's the most important thing to have on defense? Good pass defense. Look for Penn State to cause chaos and get to 10 wins. The Big Ten West, a lot of people not talking about this team. Minnesota, very dangerous. Right off the bat, they get Ohio State at home. Big time chance for chaos right there. Miami of Ohio, at Colorado, Bowling Green, at Purdue, Nebraska, Maryland, at Northwestern, Illinois, at Iowa, at Indiana, and Wisconsin at home. So their first game of the year and their last game of the year, a chance to cause some chaos because they get Ohio State and Wisconsin at home. Quarterback Tanner Morgan is back, and he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Had a slight downtick last year, but I expect him to bounce back. And in 2020, they were 2 overtime losses away from finishing 5-2. That would have been a good record. Minnesota's going to have a great offensive line and a tricky run-pass offense, especially with running back Mohamed Ibrahim. Last year, on the defensive side of the ball, they were dealing with losing 7 starters. So this defense this year is going to be much more experienced. Minnesota's going to be a chaos team this year. Look out for them. Finally, the SEC. We'll start off in the SEC West. The hot name right now is Ole Miss. I don't think they're going to be elite, but I definitely think they'll cause some chaos. Here's a look at their schedule. Louisville, Austin Peay, at Alabama. Gave them a great game last year, but this year it's on the road. Arkansas, at Tennessee, LSU, at Auburn, Liberty, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt at home, and at Mississippi State. So that Liberty and Texas A&M game at home, their best chance to cause chaos. Their offense is led by quarterback Matt Corral, and I think he's a dark horse to win the Heisman this year. And Ole Miss is going to have a good running game with Jerry and Ely. The biggest thing is, can their defense be better? I think it has to, because last year it was just plain horrific. And anything has to be better than that. So I do think that their defense will be better in 2021. Big time chaos team in Ole Miss. In the SEC East, Kentucky. I think Kentucky has a chance to get to 10 wins this year. Here's a look at their schedule. UL Monroe, Missouri, Chattanooga, at South Carolina, Florida, LSU, both at home, at Georgia, at Mississippi State, Tennessee, at Vanderbilt, New Mexico State, at Louisville. So getting Missouri, Florida, and LSU at home is a big deal for Kentucky, and that's what gives them a chance to get to 10 wins. They do have a big time quarterback battle going on, but I think it's going to be quarterback Will Lewis, the transfer from Penn State, that wins the starting job. Kentucky's going to have a great running game this year with running back Chris Rodriguez. The O-line is a little bit of a concern, but I have faith in Mark Stoops that he'll once again put together a good offensive line. Now on the defense, they did lose 7 starters, but defensive lineman Marquand McCall is turning heads. He's looking really good in the spring and the fall. And don't forget about 5-star recruit defensive lineman Justin Rogers. The linebacking core, you have Luke Fulton, the Michigan State transfer, looking really good. Then incoming linebacker 4-star recruit Trevin Wallace. So even though they lost 7 stars, Kentucky definitely has talent on the defensive side of the ball. And their secondary is going to be pretty good this year. Look for Kentucky to make a jump in the SEC East rankings and cause some chaos. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this list. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.